Welcome back to the Better Blokes YouTube channel. We give male survivors of sexual abuse tools that will help improve the quality of their lives. In these videos, we look at key issues that impact survivors throughout their life journey. You can help by subscribing to the channel, hitting the like button, and making comments below. These are often helpful to other people. Today, we're going to talk about the issue that is crucial to moving forward with your life: breaking the silence. The trauma of childhood sexual abuse is unique. It creates a veil of silence that enables the abuser to continue the abuse. Victims remain confused and traumatized throughout adult life unless a safe way is found to disclose the trauma. So, why might you find it difficult and uncomfortable to talk about your sexual abuse? Childhood sexual abuse is generally seen as one of the most despicable of crimes. In some countries, offenders are executed. In prison, sexual abusers are considered the last of the low. They are always excluded from wider society. This highly motivates the abuser to silence the survivor, and the survivor takes on significant and undeserved shame. We look at why silence is maintained by the sexually abusive predator, the wider, unconsciously enabling society, and the victims of the abuse themselves. Sexual predators are imagined to be strangers. As children, we are warned of danger, that a random person will attempt to abduct us or attack us. However, the reality is very different. Most sexual abuse is committed by people known and trusted by the child. This includes family members, sports coaches, teachers, the clergy, and other people within the child's community. Sexual predators are most successful when they hide in plain sight. Sexual predators are experts at grooming victims for abuse. This includes encouragement and belief that silence and secrecy are vital. Sexual abuse of children is not necessarily sudden or violent. It is usually a carefully planned strategy that often includes grooming the family as well as the child. Grooming makes people feel comfortable with the behavior that would be viewed with suspicion if it happened suddenly. Grooming involves creating a situation where the victim is isolated, such as positive social outings that often involve treats and that escalate from safe, comforting touch to sexual behavior. Building a cage of secrecy and silence with the victim that evolves through the life stages of the child. It is often encouraged by treats, special favours, and constant affirmations that the child is special. Once the trust has been established with the child and their family, silence is enforced with coercive threats, threatening physical harm to social exposure of the child, creating guilt in the child if the abuser is exposed, shame or financial damage to the child's family, because fundamentally children just want to avoid disruption and harm to their lives. Abusers in powerful positions use that to prevent exposure. High-profile prosecutions, they come as a shock, because the predator has created a shield of credibility that covers their abuse of children. Status makes it difficult for victims to come forward. They fear not being believed. Examples include celebrities, sports stars, religious figures, and well-respected members of the community. Survivors can be abused from infancy through to early childhood and their teenage years. Sexual abusers often target a particular age of child. As the survivor ages, the abuser can abandon the victim. The victim is left feeling that debilitating unresolved trauma, and this impacts the rest of their lives. For the family and the community, sexual abuse is often occurring in plain sight. Most of us are trusting by nature. We see support or encouragement for the child as a positive thing. And this is mostly true, but this trust is exploited by the sexual predator to access vulnerable children. And families themselves can want to protect the predator. They protect the predator to maintain financial and social status. We can suspect something is wrong, but the social conspiracy makes it very hard for us to challenge the suspected abuser. We don't know what to do. It can be hard to believe a single victim, especially if the victim is very young. Victims feel that there is no one they can turn to, no one who would believe their story. But ironically, once one victim comes forward, many other victims and survivors will come forward, wanting to tell their stories. So why do victims maintain silence? Young victims are made to feel special and important. The secrecy was part of maintaining that sense of importance. They're given special treatment that separates them from other children. But no matter how young they are, they have a strong feeling that something is not quite right. This creates confusion, distrust, and disconnection. At the early stage, gaining trust of the child was reasonably benign, often positive and pleasurable for the child. And silence has different motives as the survivor ages and progresses through life. Male survivors sometimes say they have a desire to protect their family and sometimes the predator from prosecution as a reason for silence. It is easier to maintain silence and secrecy. It is a sad reality that survivors can take up to 30 years to feel safe enough to disclose. And for 75% of men, disclosure never occurs. Unresolved trauma frequently exhibits feelings of shame, self-harm, depression, anxiety, overachieving, rescuing, sexual dysfunction, addictions, and anger management issues. In further videos, we will explore each of these issues in more detail.